Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It's Monday morning, guys. February 19th. I got some video yesterday that I'll try to get posted up this afternoon on some of the clips of doing the beef. I had my daughter with one of the granddaughters, grandson, and fiance help us out. We did probably around 400 pounds of hamburger and 60, 70 pounds of steak. Because they really didn't want any steak. They wanted just burger. But I like a steak. I have usually a steak once a week. And so I cut up the prime cuts. And they'll go in my freezer. And then I sent my daughter home with probably a little over 200 pounds of hamburger to put in her freezer. I know that they appreciate it. So that brings me to today's topic. And today's topic is, whatever happened to, everybody getting together at grandma's every Sunday, or people wanting to spend more time together? Why isn't that taking place anymore? Is it because people haven't got the time? Well, let's dive into that one. All right, stay tuned. Alright, so welcome back to the channel. If you didn't already know, my name is Eric, and I do a weekday videos Monday through Friday. This is the weekday, this is Monday. And then I usually have one or two videos out over the weekend, which I was able to do. And then I also, during the week, I throw up different videos that I think you might enjoy seeing, whether it be repair videos or... like today, I'm going to try to get up the family get-together of how we work together to get the task done. So let's get back to the topic here. Now, years ago, Claude and I were talking, because I ran into a station on TV, Ozzy or something like that, but they had back-to-back monster shows. And then they had Mom Pa Kettle. And what was the other one? Some country and western, some of the old ones with John Wayne in it. And you had, was it Long Ranger? But I was telling him, I said, these shows, because most of the shows that we were watching on this channel, girls, were ones that I grew up with. And it took me back into a time of, when I was young and still in elementary. I mean, that's ancient. That's back when we only had like 3 channels on the TV. So you didn't have a lot of choice, what you got to watch. And some of the stuff seems corny now, watching it. Maybe RFD and stuff with Barney Fife and letting him carry the one bullet. But it was entertaining as a kid. I can remember with Mom Pa Kettle, I mean, that was the worst. As far as just laughing like a hyena at some of the antics that Pa Kettle and his Indian sidekick were always up to. But that also, come on girls, that also took me back to a time where a lot of people, because I think you had more time back then than you do now, or at least you made more time available than you do now to come together, to get together and enjoy each other's company. yes, social media has helped a lot in that area, but it's also not helped a lot because now you're not getting that in-person visits, and getting together. You can do a shout out on Snapchat. You can do, a Facebook Live. You can do, there's a number of other ways to communicate with family. So the pluses I see is if you, for whatever reason, can't make it, if it's a great distance to try to come home, and maybe you just haven't got the money or the time, then I think the social media things have been good in that sense. But I think in the same sense, it's also been kind of the slowly eroding of the family unit as it used to be, if that makes any sense. When was the last time you guys got together? I'm a grandparent now. And one of the things that I did to try to bring us closer as a unit, because, everybody is out doing their own thing, right? They got their own stuff going on, but my daughter was reluctant about coming down because she wanted to spend time on the farm with the side-by-sides, the Polaris Rangers and the four-wheelers. Because she felt like she was intruding of, So I had this fifth wheel camper sitting across the road that I had bought a few years ago. It was an older one. My idea was I was going to try to find a lot on a river or a lake or something like that, put the camper in, put a screened-in porch, and either build a camp or live in the camper during the summer months on weekends to go down to put the boat in and fish and stuff. But that never materialized. It just sat across the road, so I put it on Facebook Marketplace. And we had a few people look at it. But one of the things that I mentioned, because my daughter had mentioned, could she go up to camp, clean up camp, so that she could come down more often? I said, yeah, you're more than welcome to. But are you looking for something like your own space? Because she didn't want to have all her stuff all over the place in camp, and then my son come in and yada, 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 right? So I said, why don't you take a look at that camper and see if that might suit your bill, fit you and your kids. So while she was down here, she went through it. And she came back and said, I really like to use that if possible. So you know what? You own it. So we parked it across the road from the house underneath a nice big old willow shade tree where you get a nice breeze during the summer months. And her and her fiance and the kids come down, and they went from one end of that camper to the other just cleaning. And I went from seeing my daughter maybe once, twice a summer to a lot of weekends during the summer because she had her own place to come to. And she had her own freedoms, Of course, I had to stock my freezer with Freezy Pops and ice creams. But that's what grandpas have to do anyways, right? But they'd come down and take off with the side-by-side, go berry picking, what have you, just out enjoying themselves instead of sitting at home on the weekends. And the reason behind that, my thought process was, look, I'm not getting any younger. And I know when I was growing up, I always put off the time, because I always thought I'd have time later on down the road. And sometimes you don't have a lot of time later on down the road, or that person that you think you could spend time with, they may not be here tomorrow. Now what? Well, now what is you need to start thinking outside the box of ways to get together in person, physically, with the people that you care about more often. And it's not about having enough time. It's about whether you're willing to make the time. See, there's the key right there. We all have time. And a lot of time we spend looking like we're busy, but we're busy doing nothing. And when I say busy doing nothing, how many hours a day are you sitting on Facebook or YouTube, scrolling through feeds or watching videos or watching me? You could be somewhere else. Not that I want you to take time away from us. No, kidding. Because I think it's very important to have family time. But that, all come flooding back, this weekend. Because like I say, my daughter and I've got my grandson Connor, he hunts with us now. He's 15. And Olivia, you'll see in the videos today, she is 3 or 4. And I also have 2 granddaughters that are both in their 20s. Let's see. Yeah. And the one couldn't make it down yesterday to help with Hamburger because she was busy working. And the other one belongs to my son, be his daughter. And then he's got 2 boys, one in, I think, 2nd grade, and the other one hasn't started pre-K yet. But I think it's important to find the time to spend with each other. And we need to, as elders, make ourselves more accessible. I envy the people that have got the wherewithal. And up in this area, typically it's the Italian heritages that still get together every Sunday for a big spaghetti meal. They kind of held things together in their groups, but the rest of us, we fly by the seat of our pants. And we convince ourselves that we have plenty of time down the road. So we put it off, right? How far do you want to put it off? You're going to miss out on seeing your kids grow up, your grandkids show up, or that, your in-laws, if they get older, your parents, even your grandparents, if they're still alive. When was the last time you spent any quality time with them? Everybody is thinking they're way too busy now. So where did the family unit start to erode away? How far back? See, now I can remember growing up, we didn't have, we had a big Sunday dinner per se, that instead of having like a typical day is lunchtime is at noon, breakfast is before school, and then dinner time was at 5 o'clock. And we had the noontime fire whistle, and we had the 5 o'clock fire whistle. And you wanted to be in by either one of those whistles because that was mealtime. But Sundays were different. Sundays you had like a late brunch And it was usually at the church or directly after the church. And then you had your Sunday meal, which was usually around 2, 3 o'clock. And then you could snack afterwards. But I know even when I was growing up, trying to hold the family together on Sundays, I could see it eroding then. So it's been going on for quite some time, right? This is well before the internet. This is when, instead of having one person in the household work and the other one be able to stay home and take care of the kids, now both parents are working, and families are farther apart distance-wise, so your get-togethers are limited to maybe Thanksgiving, Christmas, or one of the two. Now we have the Amish community up by us, and they kind of give you a flashback of what it used to be years ago, And they're hardworking, okay? And they get up when the sun rises, and they go to bed when it gets dark out. And they have as many kids as they can. And the big thing is every Sunday, they don't really associate with anybody other than themselves. They call us the English. But on Sundays, they get on their best duds, and they all converge on one of the family's properties, okay? The best way to describe it is there may be 5 or 6 different kids, or, but they would all go to that one this Sunday, and get together and do their Sunday service. And the men would stand out on the porch and visit and tell how their week went and stuff that was coming up. And the women would work in the kitchen getting all the meal together, and they would have a great big Sunday dinner. And then everybody would disperse, and then next Sunday it would be at the next person's house. But that kind of is what I think we're lacking in our community. Because they could say they don't have the time because they're working the sunrise and sunset. But the only thing they do on Sundays is the bare minimums that have to be done. And they don't sell stuff. They don't do anything on a Sunday. They feed their animals, milk their cows if they have cows. Other than that, Sunday is devoted to having family time together, having a family meal, and reading from the Bible. Because we have what they call the old sect, which is they don't have anything motorized unless it's like a Honda engine on something or something on a sawmill. But they don't have electricity in their houses. They have horse and buggies, but they kind of have held together that family unit that I'm talking about. But to start wrapping this up, what are ways that you can do or have done to keep the family together, where you're spending more time, maybe on the weekends, family meals, because food is always a good motivator to bring people together, right? And especially good food. And what are your thoughts on with Facebook, YouTube, Snapchat, Twitter? The list goes on. Is that helping, or do you think hindering the physical get-together of families? Because I can tell you that it's been eroding a long time, well before all this fancy stuff that we see on the internet today. But on that note, I'm going to let you guys get to work here. It's 4:45 now. Yeah, the dog got me up early. And I'm going to do some work on getting the video done. We've got one snowblower to pick up this morning. We have to jack a tractor up, take a tire off, get it fixed, put it back on. John's red chainsaw that I'm going to try to do a video on. Has it run in 3 years. Life is short, folks. Don't put off today what you can do today, especially when it comes time to spending time with family and friends. All right, you guys have a great Monday, and we'll catch you here bright and early tomorrow morning. All right.